it's you realize, wait a second, this is actually happening.
Wait a second, this is
Yeah.
actually happening. And then right at, I
Yeah.
didn't have to do anything, right? Right at that moment, I'm like dislodging from my body.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm out. I can't believe it. Right.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic. So I just open up my eyes and it's just boom, just there's more light than what we have here.
Hello, everyone. I have Joe with me. He's been working with the method for a year now, and he's going to share his testimonials and his success. A year is a pretty long time, but it just shows you that it takes time, sometimes takes time to work into this and get it going. So, yes, welcome, Joe.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Darius. Now we didn't talk about this, but I'd like to thank you for all this because it's pretty unique and pretty awesome. I do appreciate it and I do appreciate you being out there. It's not easy. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, yeah, so it's been a year, I guess, that I signed up for the course. I had been doing on and off. I sort of missed a couple of months, I was not able to get out of my body for the longest time. And the only thing I think why I succeeded is because I never gave up.
Mm.
And I think that's an important thing to hear. Because how do you master something? Just don't give up. Basically, you falter, you keep going. So that's what I did. At times I would do it once a week, twice a week, once every 2 weeks, that sort of thing. Um, so the time I came out of my body was last Sunday. Um, and what happened is that so that was a quiet Sunday for me. I didn't have to do anything. I got up in the morning. I had my breakfast. I had my coffee as well, right? So I had my breakfast, and I thought, let's try it, right? So I
Okay, so
did.
you're doing this in the daytime, yes?
I'm doing it in daytime, so around 11 o'clock ish or something like that, right?
Mm. Mm.
And after like 40 minutes into it or something like that, an hour or something like that, right? I thought, nah, it's just not happening again, right? And so I got out of it, and but it created a headspace within me. That is the most important thing why was able to get out of my body. And so it was approaching around 4 o'clock ish or something like that, and I thought, oh God, my headspace is really bad. I either get drink a coffee so that I wake up, but I thought I'm not going to be able to sleep. But I thought maybe it's a good time to try again.
Mm.
So probably around, well, I don't know how much time I spent in listening to the sound. Less than 90 minutes for sure. And what happened is that it was pretty amazing. uh, it's just such a joyous thing for me. So,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, I had double pillows under my head, so I was sort of sitting up a little bit, but then what it was an unusual posture for me. And then just suddenly just waking up, and I call it like a consciousness expansion. It's just when things open up, right? It's like
Mm.
right, and
It's the point, it's the point where you realize you've like at this point where you're at, it's you realize, wait a second, this is actually happening.
wait a second, this is
Yeah.
actually happening. And then right at, I
Yeah.
didn't have to do anything, right? Right at that moment, I'm like dislodging from my body,
Mm,
right? I'm sinking, I have this sinking feeling, and it just plop, just got out of my body, right?
mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm out. I can't believe it, right?
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic, but I
Mm,
don't see a thing. It's completely dark, right? And I go like, trying to feel my way. Like I must have stood up or something, right? So I'm trying to feel my way, and I think I'm going through at least one door frames,
mm,
and but it's still dark. I don't see anything, and I go like, okay, I know that I'm out. I know that I have all my faculties, but I don't see. And I thought, well, you know what? Don't be afraid. You have to open up your eyes, right?
mm,
So I just open up my eyes, and it's just boom, just there's more light than what we have here. That's how I experienced it, right? Just more light. I found myself, interestingly enough, I found myself in a woodworking shop. Don't ask me. I have some woodworking experience, background, that sort of thing. Sometimes I go into woodworking shops, and just recently, like a week ago, I talked to somebody about woodworking. But anyway, so I find myself in a woodworking shop. Okay. My body is right in the back, sleeping,
mm.
right at the back door. And I'm like, I'm just mesmerized by this whole process, right? I'm absolutely ecstatic, right? Like
Yeah.
a little boy, okay? And so I'm in this woodworking shop, and I'm just want to get away from my body. So I'm going through the shop, and to my right there was a computer station. And interesting enough, my dad was sleeping there. My father, he passed away like 20, 25 years ago.
Mm,
And I thought, okay, he's sleeping. I'm not going to wake him up. Let him sleep for now. I have no idea what he's doing here, but yeah, let's just be right now, right? And I'm ecstatic and frantic at the same time, right? I want to get away from my body
mm.
as much as I can. But again, I'm so excited, right? Because it's just an amazing feeling, right? And again, everything there's more. Again, it's just more light, right? It's so beautiful. And so I'm going through sort of frantically, going through the shop, going forward to the other end of the shop, and to my left there is a door. It's a washroom, and there's a mirror. And I'm thinking I should go in there, have a look at myself.
Mm,
But then second thought comes, I'm thinking, if I look at myself, maybe I get back to my body. So I'm not going to do that. Right. And I think in hindsight, probably that was a mistake.
mm.
Um, and so I'm turning around, and then coming back sort of towards to the back of the shop, towards where my body is sleeping there. There's another computer station, and interestingly enough, I thought nobody will believe me. So I gotta get something from this computer screen. What's on the screen, right? And the time, I remember it was 4 o'clock and 21 minutes. And interestingly enough, the time was in the upper left corner instead of the bottom right.
Mm.
Um, and so I'm like, it's like a caged animal wants to get out of the cage, but I'm again, I'm just sort of feel like ecstatic and running around, and I want to get away, but it's really something is curtailing me, and
Containing you. Yes.
yeah, of me getting away
Mm.
from this place here.
Well,
Um,
you definitely thought you were talking about in the beginning, you were talking about woodworking shop. So like you were talking about that too. If my memory is correct, you were talking to a friend or something like that about that.
No, yes, correct. I used to work in a woodworking shop,
Yes.
and I go through woodworking shops relatively often
Yeah. Okay.
doing my work,
All right. So
right? So
that's
that
mm,
that must have been it, right?
yeah. Yeah,
So
that's making more sense to me that you're
yeah,
coming out of your body. You're by your body. You could see your body, but at the same time, it's like that dimensional space of woodworking. What you pass all the time is shifting into you're creating a bubble, shift of reality. But your dad thing is hmm, because typically past relatives will communicate with you if you see them. Some of them necessarily won't if it feels like it's going to freak you out. All right, so go back to what you're saying. You passed over the 420, the time on the computer, upper right hand
yeah,
side,
the
and then you
computer,
continue.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
going tr sort of towards my body, and there's a door to the left, to the right, and I'm like dashing towards the door. I want to get away, right? And I just boom, got back into my body.
okay. So
I
sucked
was
right
right.
back in.
It was the door was relatively close to my body,
Mm,
right?
mm, yes,
And yeah, I just got back in my body, and so it's a very distinctive feeling, oh, I'm back. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So what was that the accurate time on the computer though? Accurate time when you uh came back into your
Hmm.
body?
Interesting. Never thought of that. Could have been because it was around 4 o'clock ish that I never thought of that. That's great.
Yeah,
4 o'clock ish in the afternoon when I got out of my body. Yeah.
I would say that you on that computer you're actually seeing the real time,
Yeah.
and then you pop
Yeah.
back in because
That's amazing. I never thought of that. I was
yeah,
like, why is that
yeah.
420? Right.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Well, it's just things through like the more you do it, like through experience, like you just go like me trying to connect the dad situation and the woodworking stuff to see,
Mm.
yeah, where that connects to. But
So that's a very interesting point because I've been thinking about it. Why did I create that woodworking shop? Maybe because it's familiarity.
yeah,
Um,
what you think, the more things you think about constantly in your field, well, once you come out, that is typically the first thing that you're going to see.
mm,
Those dimensional space thought forms you're creating in your field, so you're going to see that.
mhm,
So you're constantly
mhm,
passing
mhm,
woodworking shops. Now you're
mhm,
that blend
mhm,
reality shifting in.
mhm.
Um,
So
mm.
how would I get out next time? Do I go to the washroom where there is a mirror and look at myself in the mirror and get go through the mirror?
Well, there's many. Well, I will tell you. Okay, I'm gonna go back first. I'll ask that. I'll answer that. But one of the first things that I would have probably done, and just maybe to help trigger you next time when you do things unfamiliar, next time if you do see your dad like that has passed, maybe try to make contact and see because something else would have progressed from that point.
Mhm.
It's almost like
Okay.
that was part of that was the main experience. But it's sort of like, when you first come out, you're like, yeah. Yeah. Especially the first time.
I was so elated like that. I was
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but to access more, you could it's spoken word command, leave the house entirely, see what you see outside.
Mhm.
Most of the time when you command to go somewhere, you will either be presented with it's a very common theme with also the other people that show testimonials, black portal, doorway,
The black portal.
yeah. Yeah. And then you walk through that. Depending on what you're asking to go to, sometimes you're just all of a sudden, like the woodworking dimensional space stuff that you're creating there, it's sort of you just shift into it. Like it's like reality bends and shifts and change. And then all of a sudden yeah. Mm,
You have said it hundreds of times. Don't be too excited about it. Well, that is exactly what happened to me.
yeah.
I was just so elated, just so excited about the whole thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's just, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
While doing it, practicing it for a year and then finally achieving it. Like, yeah, that's you're pretty much like, all right, I'm out. And then it's like nothing else really filters through, like everything that was spoken about.
But it's so, yeah, it's just so amazing. And yeah, let me tell you, I got some plans. So
Yeah.
some plans, yeah. And this is the ultimate frontier to me, right? I mean, there's, I've been meditating and spiritual and da da da, for more than 2 decades, and so
Mm.
I want to experience all of it, so that it is a experiential knowledge instead of a no disrespect. It's not a handed down knowledge. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I need to experience, because I long time ago I made a thing where I decided that this is not a intellectual thing. It has to be experienced. It doesn't
Yes.
work any other way.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, because now, like you doing this process, you know right now that this is possible because you've done it.
this is possible. Yeah,
Yeah. So now you
that's the
come
beauty
in
of it.
from a place of knowing, and now things that the more that you do it again at will, and you
Mhm,
achieve it, now you know
mhm,
like certain things like you're going to be more. It's just like anything, right? The more that you do this come out, you're going to be more focused, and you'll be able to access things that are specific to you, personal things, records, ask for
mhm.
information. It's just a matter of time, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just have to get a hold of myself. Basically, that's what it is. And next time when I get out, it needs to be more purposeful. Damper down emotions a little bit, right? And yeah, there's a whole bunch of places that yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you watch when reality shifts when you start accessing more things, and like then you are completely out of the bounds of even near your physical body. You're gonna have no association there at all. Not one. Yeah,
I'm
nothing.
looking forward to it. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
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 No.
Well,
Mhm.
congratulations, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Seriously, it's you reminded me of one of my friends that had tried it for a year. Took him a year to achieve it, and then when he
Mm,
finally did, I mean, you did more than him. He just freaked out. Like as soon as he came out, he's like,
mm.
"No, not for me." Um,
No, it is for me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's going to be interesting working with you, especially in the work groups and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Once. Yeah.
Yeah, I already have already have a really good idea of how to progress this for you even quicker based off
Oh, okay.
yeah, based off what you were telling me. But I'll have a chat with you inside the work groups and stuff when those get running. But just based off what you were telling me, I have an idea of how to make this
Okay. Okay. That
yeah,
would be great. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
cheers, man. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.